Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Whenever you are watching this video, let me welcome you all to our channel Future Endeavors. Okay, so in the previous class, we have been discussing about current electricity chapter, a chapter of class 10 ICC board term 2. Okay, so now let us continue our discussion regarding current electricity. In the previous class, I hope you have remembered, we have discussed about the potential. We have started discussing about the potential difference and potential, and as far as I remember, I have discussed about the term potential difference between 2 points, isn't it? Okay, so I think the concept of potential difference is clear to all of you by now. If not, please go through the video once again, the previous video. I think the concept will be very clear to you. And if you have any query, you can obviously post it in the comment section. We will try our very best to answer your queries. Okay, so quickly moving on, we have been discussing about potential and potential difference. So as in the previous class, I have discussed that when you are talking of potential difference, the definition, by definition, what do you mean? It is meant that the amount of work that you are doing in moving a unit positive test charge from one point to another point can be regarded as the potential difference between 2 points. So just a brief recapitulation. I think if there is a point B and here is a point A, and if you consider a small amount of charge, say Q naught, placed at point B, and while you are moving this charge from point B to A, you have done a certain amount of work W. Then potential difference between the points A and B can be defined as W by Q naught. So this is the potential difference. I can write it in short as VAB. Okay. Now in the concept of physics, there is one thing that you need to know, that when we are defining the potential of a point, what actually do we consider? See, for defining the potential of a point, you must remember two things. One is that while you are defining the potential of a point, we consider one of the points. Say in this section we have said that the charge has been moved from point B to point A. Now if we consider this point B to be at infinity, okay, so if I consider this point B to be at infinite distance in comparison to point A, okay, and then we move the charge Q naught from that infinite point to point A, and in doing so, the work that has been done in moving the point charge Q naught is W. Then particularly potential of a point can be defined as the amount of work done in moving the point charge from infinity to that point. Okay, so just I am repeating the definition once again. If I consider what is the potential of point A, then for defining the potential of point A, first of all you have to consider the point B to be at infinite distance with respect to point A, and under this condition, when you are moving the charge Q naught from that infinite point to the point A, remember this thing, you are moving the charge Q naught from the infinite point to point A. Under that condition, you have done a certain amount of work, W joule. Then potential of the point A can be regarded as V of point A equals to the work done by the amount of charge that you are moving from the infinite point to point A. So this is the potential of the point A. Now this has been, we have defined the potential of point A considering one point to be at infinite. Now how can you come from this potential difference to this definition? Can you conclude? Yes, definitely you can come. How can you come? See, for that what you need to do, when I am saying the potential difference, what does it mean? Potential difference, final minus initial. So we are moving the charge from point B to point A, isn't it? So if I consider that if I just break up this definition, what I will get, VA minus VB is equals to W by Q naught. Now remember one thing, when you are considering a point to be at infinite distance, remember the potential of any point at infinite distance is considered to be 0. Just take a note of it. Potential of a point at infinite distance is taken to be 0. Remember this point, very very important point. We make certain assumptions in physics. These are very important assumptions. Okay, so if I consider this assumption, then obviously you can say that this VV is 0. Why VV is 0? As because I can say that the B point is at infinity. So if the B point is infinity, then obviously I can point out that the VV, value of VV is 0, isn't it? Then what is left? Then here we can definitely write that VA is equals to W by Q naught. So this is the same expression that you are getting here, isn't it? Okay. So in this way also you can actually come from the definition of potential difference to the definition of potential. Fine? Okay, good. So I think the concept of potential and potential difference is now clear. If you have doubt, you can just once again pause the video and just go through it once again. I think the concept will be very much clear to you. Okay. So let us quickly move on to the next topic. So thus you have understand the concept of potential and potential difference. I think it is okay. So can we move on to the next point? Okay. Now, what is the next point that I have to consider? What is the next point that we are going to discuss? Okay. So next thing that I am going to discuss is about a cell. So what is a cell? This is not the cell which you are reading in biology. Okay. This is not the cell that you are reading in biology. Okay. Okay. So the next thing that we are going to define, that we are going to discuss is cell, isn't it? So what is a cell? Don't think this is a cell that you read in your biology. Okay. So this is something which provides energy to the electrons so that they can flow in a circuit, which gives a certain pathway to the electrons so that they can flow in a particular direction, and actually for that reason only we say that current is flowing through a circuit, isn't it? Okay. So now let us understand what a cell. First of all, let me draw the symbolic representation of a cell. A cell is represented by two such lines, one big and one small. The big line represents the positive terminal of the cell and the small line represents the negative terminal of the cell. So this is the symbolic representation of a cell. Now when you see such markings which are more than 2 in number, then that is what we regard as battery. So basically battery, what is a battery? A battery is a combination of cells. So if I consider a battery, it should have like this, the symbol should be like this. It can have more such ticks. Okay, so this is the positive terminal and this is the negative terminal of the battery. So battery is actually combination of cells. So I can state that what is a battery? Battery is a combination of cells. Okay, so it's combination of cells. Combination of cells. Okay, fine. So this is what battery and cells are symbolically represented. Now what does a cell do in a circuit? Now obviously there are free electrons present in every conducting material. So cell actually does not provide the free electron to the circuit. What it does, the free electrons that are present in the conductor in the absence of any cell are moving about randomly in every direction. So there is no net velocity or net movement of the electrons in a particular direction. What does this cell do or battery does in a circuit? when it is connected to such a circuit, it actually causes the electrons to move out or move in a certain particular direction. That is the main function of a cell. It drives the electrons to a definite direction. Okay, so this is a cell. So you can just think of cell as a device which is causing the electrons, it is driving the electrons in a particular direction through an electrical circuit. Okay, so this is cell. Now so obviously, actually what does the cell provide? The cell, we can say, in other words, a cell develops a certain potential difference across the ends of a conductor. When you connect this cell to a particular circuit, say I am connecting this cell to a particular wire having say certain resistance, okay, having certain resistance, then what does it cause? It causes the electrons to move out in a particular direction through the circuit, and thus it causes the flow of a current I. Now, so cell has its own potential difference. A cell has its own potential difference which it, when connected to a circuit, and that potential difference causes the electrons to flow. Now, a cell can also have its internal resistance. We represent the internal resistance of a cell by generally small r. This is the internal resistance of a cell, and the external resistance or the resistance of any electrical device that you have connected to the cell is represented by generally by capital R. There is no hard and fast rule, but generally it is represented by capital R. So a cell has a potential difference of its own. Now see, when a cell is not connected to a circuit, that is, cell is isolated condition. When the cell is in isolated condition, now note down these points. When the cell is in isolated condition, what happens? Isolated condition, the potential difference that you find across the terminals of a cell, if you measure the potential difference with a voltmeter, the potential that you will find across the terminals of a cell, do you know what it is called? It is called the electromotive force. What it is called? It is called the electromotive force. Electromotive force, or in short it is written as EMF. So basically this is the potential difference that you will get across the terminals of a cell when you measure it with a voltmeter. When the cell is in isolated condition, that is not connected to any external circuit, it is called the electromotive force. Okay. Now when you connect the cell to an external circuit and the current starts flowing, then the electromotive force decreases a little bit, and at that condition the potential difference that you obtain at the terminals of the cell is called the terminal voltage of the cell. Okay, so I can write, when cell is connected to a circuit, under that condition the potential difference that you can obtain at the terminals of the cell is called the terminal voltage. EMF is generally denoted by the letter symbol called epsilon. This is epsilon. Okay, so or you can also say E. Okay, and terminal voltage is generally denoted by the symbol capital V. Okay, capital V. Fine. So these are the two terms. Again, in terms of work done, how can you define EMF? Can you say in terms of work done? You know that we can define potential difference or potential in terms of work done also. So how can you define this EMF in terms of the work done? Now, just listen carefully. When you are defining EMF, then what can you define? EMF can be said or can be defined as the total amount of work done in moving a charge, a unit positive charge, across the whole circuit means within the cell as well as outside the cell. That is the definition of EMF. So EMF can be regarded as the work done in moving a unit positive charge across the whole circuit, total circuit. So mathematically we can define this EMF. We can mathematically define this EMF as total work done. Total work done by the amount of charge that were moving. Okay, so this is the EMF. And what is the terminal voltage? So terminal voltage can be defined in terms of work done as the amount of work done in moving the charge in the external circuit. External circuit means outside the cell. External circuit means outside the cell. So terminal voltage can be defined as V equals to W in the external circuit by the amount of charge Q. So these are the two ways in which you can define EMF and terminal voltage for a cell. Okay, so I think it is clear to you all. So terminal voltage and EMF, basically these two things must be clear. Now see, so obviously how can we equate or relate this terminal voltage and EMF? See, so terminal voltage and EMF can be related as, okay, so just if you have not noted down these concepts, you can pause the video and note it down. Okay, so I am just rubbing it off. Okay, so how can we relate the terminal voltage and EMF of this cell? Isn't it? How can we relate it? Now let us see. Okay, so actually the EMF of any cell, when the cell is discharging power, that is, it is giving power to the external circuit. When the cell is giving power to the external circuit, we can write, okay, so I am just writing it here, during discharging. When the cell is actually giving out power to the external circuit, when the cell is discharging, okay, under that condition, how can you relate the EMF and terminal voltage? Then you can write the EMF E is equals to the terminal voltage plus the potential drop across the internal resistance of the cell, plus the potential drop across the internal resistance of the cell. So this is how you can relate the EMF as well as the terminal voltage of the cell during discharging condition. That is when the cell is giving out power to the external circuit. You can relate these two things in this way. Okay, so I hope the definition is clear, the relation is clear. EMF can be regarded as potential difference plus the voltage drop across the internal resistance. So this I into R, this is actually the potential drop across the internal resistance. Okay, internal resistance. Is it clear? Okay, fine. Across the internal resistance. Okay. Now during the charging condition, when the cell is being charged, during the charging condition, how can you relate? In the charging condition, the equation is bit opposite. Terminal voltage will be equal to the EMF plus the potential drop across the internal resistance. So this is the equation. So V equals to epsilon plus IR. Okay. So I think the concept of the relation between the internal voltage drop and terminal voltage and EMF is clear. Okay, fine. So this is the concept of cell. I think the concept of cell is clear to you all of now. The cell is nothing but a device which is actually driving the electrons through the circuit. Okay, fine. So cell is basically the energy provider. Now you know what kind of energy provider is the cell? The cell is actually providing direct current to the circuit, isn't it? cell actually is responsible for the flow of direct current through the cell. We will discuss at some point about this direct current and alternating current. There are two types of currents, direct current and alternating current, in some other video. Just remember, for this, the cell provides a direct current, to the circuit. Okay, so it provides direct current. Remember this point, to the circuit. Direct current, in a short, it is written as DC. So it is not obviously DC comics, but direct current. Full form of DC is direct current. Okay. So I think till here the concept is very clear to you all. Okay. So today we will be stopping here. We will be stopping our discussion at this point. In the next class, we will be discussing about the resistance, a very important concept, resistance. So by now you have learned what is current, you have known what is potential difference, what is potential, and you have a very brief concept about the cell, its EMF, its terminal voltage, and there is some internal resistance. We will be discussing this in the next class. Okay, so these are the concepts that we have learned by till now. So okay, so we will be stopping here. In the next class we will be continuing our discussion from here. Till then, take care, goodbye, thank you.